The chainsaw on the shelf at your hardware store has a secret hiding in plain sight. That orange and gray logo, the one shaped like a precision targeting sight, does not belong to an American company. It belongs to a firm founded in 1689 in a small town in southern Sweden. A company whose first product was not a lawn tool. It was a musket, a military weapon manufactured by royal decree for the Swedish crown. That crosshair you pass every time you walk through the tool aisle is not a stylized emblem. It is the targeting sight of a 17th century royal musket. It has been there the whole time. You just did not know what you were looking at. That company is Husqvarna Group. And over the last 4 decades, it quietly purchased 9 American yard tool brands your family trusted for generations, folded them into a Swedish corporate structure, extracted the value from their reputations, and then discontinued most of them. In February of 2025, it handed the last American factory that made those products to a contractor headquartered in Singapore. We are going to show you exactly which American brands disappeared into this Swedish conglomerate, what happened to the towns that built them, and the 3 things you should do the next time you need a chainsaw, a trimmer, or a riding mower. If you have walked the power tool aisle at Home Depot or Lowe's recently, you might believe you are looking at a competitive marketplace. There is a Poulan chainsaw at one price, a Husqvarna chainsaw at a higher one, a McCulloch trimmer on the end cap, a weed eater near the exit, different logos, different price points. You assume these are different companies competing for your dollar. That is not what you are looking at. Poulan, Weed Eater, McCulloch, Dixon, Yazoo, and Keys, and Bluebird, brands built by Americans in Louisiana, Texas, Kansas, and Colorado over more than 2 combined centuries, were all owned, manufactured, or controlled by a single Swedish corporation. You were not choosing between competitors. You were choosing between departments of the same company. A company that answered to shareholders in Stockholm, not to the communities where those brands were born. And here is the part that nobody advertises. Husqvarna did not just buy those brands. It used them, stripped them of value, and then discontinued most of them. The names your father and grandfather trusted are largely gone. Most Americans shopping in that aisle today have no idea it happened. But by the end of this video, you will. To understand how a Swedish weapons factory came to own the tools in your garage, you have to go back to 1689. King Charles XI of Sweden needed muskets. He chose a waterfall on the Husqvarna River to power the machinery, and he issued a royal charter to build an armaments works. That factory ran for 300 years. The last shotgun rolled off the line in 1989. Along the way, the company made sewing machines, bicycles, and motorcycles before landing on chainsaws in 1959. Electrolux, the Swedish appliance giant, acquired Husqvarna in 1978 and looked at the American outdoor power equipment market the same way a patient investor looks at undervalued real estate. In 1986, Electrolux bought Poulan and Weed Eater from Emerson Electric. Poulan had been founded in Shreveport, Louisiana, in 1946 by a man named Claude Poulan, who built chainsaws for timber workers by hand. Weed Eater was invented in Houston, Texas, in 1971 by George Ballas, who reportedly got the idea watching a car wash. These were working-class American inventions built by people who understood the people who used them. Electrolux bought them in 1986 and closed the Shreveport factory 2 years later. The job stayed in Louisiana. The profits did not. In 1988, Electrolux acquired Roper Outdoor Products out of Orangeburg, South Carolina, which held one critical contract. It physically built the Craftsman riding mowers that Sears sold to American homeowners. The Craftsman name had been a Sears brand since 1927. Trusted by every homeowner who had ever pulled a tractor out of the garage on a Saturday morning. But the machine under that Craftsman hood, built in a factory now owned by a Swedish corporation. Every Craftsman riding mower with a model number beginning in 917 was a Husqvarna-designed, Orangeburg-built machine wearing an American label. You bought a Craftsman. You thought you were buying American. You were buying Swedish. After Electrolux spun Husqvarna off as an independent Stockholm-listed company in 2006, the pace accelerated. That same year, Husqvarna bought Dixon Industries, a zero-turn mower company from Coffeyville, Kansas, founded in 1974. Roughly 159 local jobs. Husqvarna paid $34 million, moved production to Nebraska, and shut the Coffeyville plant. In 2007, it acquired the professional Redmax and Zanoa handheld line from Komatsu of Japan for approximately $155 million, adding international reach on top of everything it had already taken from American soil. In 2008, it secured the North American rights to McCulloch, a chainsaw brand Robert Paxton McCulloch had founded in Milwaukee in 1943. By 2008, the American brand Tally alone stood at 9 Poulan Pro, Weed Eater, McCulloch, Dixon, Yazoo and Keys, Bluebird, the Roper manufacturing platform, and the factory contract that had been putting the Craftsman name on Swedish-built riding mowers for 20 years, 9 American names, 1 Swedish parent. But buying these brands was only the first half of the strategy. What Husqvarna did after the acquisitions is the part the industry never talks about. Husqvarna did not buy these brands to invest in them. It bought them to rationalize them. In corporate language, rationalization means this: acquire a brand consumers trust, redirect that loyalty toward your flagship, and then discontinue the acquired brand once it has served its purpose as a transitional vehicle for market share. Yazoo and Keys, a professional commercial mower brand, were discontinued in 2011. Dixon was discontinued in North America in 2014. 40 years of American manufacturing were erased. When the announcement came, a dealer in Tulsa told Green Industry Pros magazine the Dixon brand had been around for 40 years and had genuine recognition in North America. In any event, we will be looking at other options this fall. That sentence tells you everything about how customers found out. Bluebird International, the Denver-based lawn care equipment company founded in 1961, was sold to a Michigan firm in December of 2014. Johnsard, a professional chainsaw brand embedded in the American arborist community, wound down globally in September of 2022. And Poulan Pro, walk-behind mower tooling, was sold to a Mexican manufacturer called Valsi in 2022. Today, if you buy a Poulan Pro mower at Walmart, you are buying a product built in Mexico using tooling sold off by a Swedish company that acquired the Louisiana brand 36 years earlier. The name traveled from Claude Poulan's Shreveport workshop to a Stockholm balance sheet to a factory floor in Mexico. Most people buying it have no idea. And then came the final chapter for that South Carolina factory. In 2017, Sears sold the Craftsman brand to Stanley Black and Decker for approximately $900 million. The following year, Stanley moved the Craftsman riding mower contract from Husqvarna's Orangeburg plant to a competitor in Ohio, ending a manufacturing lineage that stretched back to 1910, killed in a single contract renegotiation. Without that anchor business, the Orangeburg economics began unraveling immediately. Husqvarna laid off 200 to 230 workers there in 2023. It closed its handheld production facility in Nashville, Arkansas, and on February 4th, 2025, Husqvarna announced it was transferring the entire Orangeburg operation to Flex Limited of Singapore, a contract electronics manufacturer whose clients include Apple, Ford, and Cisco. 900 American workers. New employer, Singapore. Husqvarna kept the logo. It gave away the factory. Now this is where the story stops being about one Swedish company and becomes a story about the entire industry you shop in. The yard tool aisle has been divided among 4 entities, none of them traditional American manufacturers. Stanley Black and Decker of Connecticut holds Craftsman, Cub Cadet, and Troy-Bilt after paying $1.6 billion for MTD products in 2021. Tektronic Industries of Hong Kong owns Milwaukee Tool and Ryobi, together the dominant force in both professional and consumer segments in America. KPS Capital Partners, a New York private equity firm, bought Briggs & Stratton out of bankruptcy in 2020 for $550 million, taking Snapper and Ferris along with it. Think about what that list actually means the next time you walk into a hardware store. The Craftsman mower in one bay, the Troy-built tiller in the next, the Cub Cadet in the corner, different colors, different price tags, same Connecticut parent company, the Milwaukee Tool drill on the top shelf, the Ryobi drill on the budget shelf, different colors, same Hong Kong holding company, the Snapper you grew up with, the Ferris your landscaper swears by, same New York private equity fund that bought them at a bankruptcy auction, a Swedish corporation, a Connecticut conglomerate, a Hong Kong holding company, a New York private equity fund. The names are the same, the ownership is not, and the last American factory just got handed to a company that builds circuit boards for iPhones. So if 4 foreign and private equity entities now control every brand in the yard tool aisle, does that mean you have no good options left? No, it means you have to stop shopping by brand name and start shopping by history. The first thing you do is look for pre-consolidation professional Husqvarna equipment. This will surprise you. Husqvarna's Swedish-built professional chainsaws, the 372 XP, the 562 XP, and the 572 XP, are still regarded by arborists and loggers as some of the finest production chainsaws ever manufactured. They were designed and built in Husqvarna, Sweden, and were never touched by the consumer-grade cost-cutting that gutted the American brands. The Poulan and the Swedish-built professional Husqvarna carry the same corporate parent but share almost nothing else. They are not the same machine. If you find a professional-grade pre-2010 Husqvarna chainsaw at an estate sale or used equipment dealer, you are looking at a tool engineered to outlast careers. Buy it. The second thing you do is look for the brand that was never bought. Betrayal is a German family-owned company. It has been the world's top-selling chainsaw brand since 1971. It has never been acquired, rationalized, or handed to a contract manufacturer. It generated 5.33 billion euros in 2024, and it still answers to the STL family alone, with its headquarters in Weiblingen, Germany, and American operations in Virginia Beach, Virginia. When a company refuses every acquisition offer for 5 decades, that refusal is a product specification. It tells you something the label never will. STHL is the brand that corporate consolidation could not touch, and that stubbornness shows up in the equipment. The third thing you do is buy commercial-grade used equipment from before the consolidation era. A professional zero-turn or commercial handheld unit from the late 1990s or early 2000s, built when independent companies still had reputations on the line, was engineered to run 1,000 professional hours. Not a warranty period, not a product cycle built around planned obsolescence. Those machines turn up at farm auctions, estate sales, and small independent dealers who have been servicing the same models for 20 years. Here is specifically what you are looking for. A commercial walk-behind mower or zero-turn built by an independent manufacturer before 2005 will typically have a cast iron or commercial-grade steel deck, a Kawasaki or Kohler engine that the manufacturer did not select purely on price, and a hydrostatic transmission serviced with standard parts you can find at any dealer. The independent dealers who service these machines can still get parts because the platforms were not discontinued on a 3-year product cycle. You will spend less than a new big box unit costs and end up with a machine built for professionals who could not afford failure on a paying job. That is a fundamentally different engineering standard than what comes off a consolidated assembly line building to a retail price point today. The brands that built those machines are mostly gone, but the machines themselves are still out there. and they will outlast almost anything sitting on a showroom floor right now. The yard tool industry placed a simple bet. Most consumers read the logo, not the ownership history. They count on you to feel the same loyalty to a name, whether it is held by the family that invented it or by a holding company that bought it at a corporate auction. For 4 decades, that bet has been paying off. Check who owns the brand on the box. Check when the machine was built. And the next time you see that orange and gray crosshair staring back at you from the power tool aisle, remember, it was designed in 1689 for a musket. It was never there to protect the person pulling the trigger. If this investigation changed how you see the tool aisle, hit subscribe. There are more stories exactly like this one, and the next industry that looks like open competition and turns out to be something else is already in production.